So let's try the stretching. The hands up and down. Yeah, so we're trying this first exercise is we're really just trying to get the action in the lower back and the belly. So we make an effort to get higher than we really want. So the lower back has to really tighten. And then I bring the hands down. And then at the end here, I'm pulling the hands down further than they really want to go to get the belly really tightening. And then we'd like the movement to start in that region rather than end there. So it's my belly starting to tighten now that starts the hands coming down. And then my lower back tightens. And the hands go up. And then we're going to go up and out, but just do one more up. Really reach up, pull the head right back. And then without altering the head or the back, just bring the hands down to the sides. And then just pull the chin down to stretch the neck. So this is good posture. So now the lower back is as though it's thrusting your energy right upwards, but your chin is pulled down to stretch the back of the neck. And now just turn the palms to face down and pulling in. Again, lower back and belly, but when we're pushing out to the sides like this, you can use either phase. And let's bring the hands around to the front and try rowing. So here, obviously, you're arching the back to pull the elbows back and then tightening the belly to push the hands forwards. Just really feel like you have to use those muscles, lower back, belly, because it's quite difficult to push and pull. And then the hands into prayer and up and out again, but now with the palms facing up. And just loose fists and some turning. When you reach the limit, just push into it so that it springs you back. And then opening the hands and turning the head. Then hands clasped behind the back. Pull the elbows right back. Stretch the chest open. And now rolling the head, changing direction each time. And winding it down. And then a little bit with the stick. So the stick is pretty much where the lumbar spine and the thoracic spine meet. Now just leaning forwards. And then bringing the stick up. Get the lower back strong so that your head doesn't incline forwards. And then just turning. And the pew tipping. And then back up. And now the stick down and back. And then the stick down. And now let's try those shoulder stretches. So arms up and out. And then try to pull one arm in towards the other side. And the other side. And the one where we hold hands. Side. And then one hand creeping up the spine, and the other hand grabbing it from behind. And the other side. And then out. And now let's try breathing, but trying to get the action coming from belly, lower back. So, we'd normally do this. There'd be the arm movement, there'd be a bit of movement here. But now let's just, as though you're not moving the arms at all. So you just tighten the lower back, breathe in, and the hands move just a bit. And then you tighten the belly, breathe out, and the hands come towards each other. But the movement is being generated from the lower back and the belly, not from the arms themselves. So this should be how the tai chi is. So the movement's coming from the legs, the lower back, and the turning, not from the upper body. And now just let the hands down to the knees and just feel that touch, that gentle but deliberate touch, just brings so much more feeling into the knees and the legs, to the sacrum and up the spine, into the skull. It's like you become real, or of the body rather than of the mind. And then just lift up the left hand and just place it on the left hip beside the sacrum. And the same thing, you just become so much more aware of this part of your body because of the touch. And it's because of the touch, it's not because it's you that's touching. If someone else was touching you here, you'd be even more aware of it. And then the other hand. And then just arch backwards a bit. So like you're trying to look upwards and just feel how that pushes the hands down, helping your sacrum just dig into your sitting bones. So this is the sort of strength that we need in the lower back all the time that we're either standing or sitting. So a sense that the lower back is just generating an upward flow and thrust all the time. Okay, now just bring the hands round and now just lift lift one hand and just look along the arm. So what we'd like is to have this arm held up, not by the muscles in my shoulder, but simply from this thrust of the lower back. So I tighten that muscle. So the arm is held up more by the flow of energy that's pumping down it than by the muscles. The mind has to be continuous. Otherwise, you'll have to use tension to keep the arm up. And then just relax that and let the hand come back down to the knee. And then the other side, it's like there's a brightening inside, which is generated by that tightening in the lower back. So all the time, just trying to relax the arm and the shoulder down towards the hand and just get the lift of the arm to come from the lower back rather than the shoulder. It's difficult. Yeah, so when you get it right, there's always a sense of letting your energy out, letting something come up and out of your upper body. I came across a lovely quote recently. I can't remember who it was now, but he said, the infant starts to suffer once it realizes it has to repress. So when it feels inhibited, like it can't let its energy out, that is the beginning of suffering. So here we just want to feel that flow. It's a gush, and just feel how it really depends upon the buoyancy in the heart, as well as this strength in the lower back. And then just back into prayer. And now just feel that lower back region. It should feel really proud and strong. Let's stretch your leg. And then the other side. And then just back into the squat. And then off the heels. And just the sumo squat, so where they have the heels up and their back is as vertical as they can get it. So feel the heavy sacrum stabilizing this posture. Feel the muscles in the lower back thrusting the chest up and open. Then the hands into prayer. And now we're going to try and stand up from here. So how do you do that? You've got to sort of dig down and then straighten the legs. Great. Then when you get up to the top, just keep the heels off the ground. So the legs are bent, the heels are up. Feeling that heavy sacrum just stabilizing the posture. And then riding horse. So let's just start like this. And now we're going to bring the hands to here, but one at a time. Yeah. So just, it's like really deliberate. When we do things sort of absent-mindedly or automatically, then they're less effective. So, we're standing here like this. Now just think of your left hand So that and just take your left hand round and just place it gently but deliberately upon that hip beside the sacrum and just feel how that, it's like a wave of relaxation just passes down the leg. The sacroiliac joint just opens a little bit. The hip opens, and then bring the other hand behind. And again, as soon as you make contact, the touch just helps everything relax and become real. So, our minds tend to be anxious, and it's partly because we're just never sure. So we think we see something and we think we hear something. So, in a sense, touch is the most reliable of the senses. And so, when we can touch, some of that anxiety just goes, and we can just relax better. And now let the hands slide down the bottom, so maintaining contact. Really feel it sliding down the hamstrings to the backs of the knees. And just keep the eyes looking forward so your tail is encouraged to open up and reach backwards. And then without adjusting the tail too much or the legs, just bring the head and the arms up. So now you're in riding horse, but with a really strong back, really arched lower back. And then just coming off the heels. So the spine doesn't change too much. It just leans slightly more forwards, maybe. So we already had the spine of the animal, and now we've just got the heels lifted up. So we just have that vibrant instability, that threat of toppling forwards. And now I'm going to put the heels down, but one at a time. And as the heel goes down, just feel it spreading. It's like it spreads over the floor. And then we can use our mind just to direct that spread around the outside edge. So the heel goes down. It's like one of those calligraphy brushes. The brush hits the paper and then you sweep it and it makes a mark. They're just trying to sort of wake up the heel in the same way we try and wake up the tail. So think of the heel as like the opposable thumb of the foot. And if you grab something, it's normally your fingers that grab, and then the last thing is your thumb hooking under to make sure you have purchase. That's the feeling with the foot as well. It's that my front of the foot is there, and then my heel goes down and under to make sure that I have a grip rather than just a surface of contact. And now just bringing the feet up, but keeping the heels up. So with the heels up, it just really encourages you to keep the legs bent. We're just trying to, everything we're trying to do is just change the mind. And so what we're trying to develop is the mind that wants to get down close to the ground, rather than the mind that wants to push away from the ground so that it can remain locked in its ivory tower. So I need legs that are willing to take me down. And then just into riding horse again, or a wider stance, and just moving from leg to leg with this feeling of grabbing the ground. So feel the arm and just try and copy that with the leg. So when I do this with the arm, it's as though it's starting in the shoulder and ends up in the hand. I want the feeling, the same feeling here. So that something comes away from the sacrum down the leg, and finally the foot pushes the ground that way, which makes me move the other way. It's the back to this posture, so with the heels up a little bit. And now that same exercise we've just done, really, but lifting the knee. It's really leaning, like the sumo guys. If you're really good at this, you'd get your spine horizontal and your palm would rest on the floor, and the leg that comes up would stick right up in the air. So full and empty, just feel the full side filling and becoming heavy and sunk, and the other side can then lift and lighten up. Okay. And now let's just go from leg to leg, but with this feeling of bouncing, like sinking into the trampoline skin. Now I sink into the leg, but I can already see the return. The return is made inevitable by the pressure on the leg, a bit like potential energy. So it's like when you lift an object, as you lift it, you can already see it or sensing it falling back down. Same way as I sink into the leg, I can already sense the return. They're just feeling that the stillness that we experience as we settle into the leg is very much an equilibrium. It's just that the down and the up are balanced for a moment, which gives that then appearance of stillness, like things are ground to a stop, but they haven't really. The energy is still just as strong, if not stronger, than it was when I was moving. So to maintain this, to sustain this energy, I need a mind that can stay with it. So what we call mind continuous. And I need to stay sort of open-ended so that I can feel these flows of energy, these directions, these vectors as never ending. The sinking goes down, but it goes down forever. all the way down to the center of the earth, and the rising goes all the way up to the heavens. Okay, so let's bring it back to riding horse and just try the tree and the animal again. Just bringing one hand back and just feel it, that moment of contact. Ooh. And then the other hand. So suddenly I just wake up to the fact that I have a body and that body is real in a way that the mind could never hope to be. And then let the hands slide down and just keep the eyes forwards. Let the tail really squeeze backwards and then bringing the shoulders and the arms up. So the back really strong now. So you're already wanting to come onto the front of the foot, so you just oblige and lift your heels. And then feet up again, heels stay up. Just enjoy the wobble. Yeah, so again, you can just take yourself down, you can push yourself up. Yeah, so to go down, I need to activate my hamstrings, and to come up, I need to activate these muscles. So we can breathe the ground. You know, that Taoist saying, the normal person breathes through their nose, whereas the Taoist master breathes through the soles of his feet. Great. Okay, now let's try 1 foot forwards. And then feeling the two stages of coming into the leg. So one, remember we come into the empty leg by using the empty leg to move the body. So the leg is bending to pull me across. And I can feel that as the flow of my own weight, or I can feel it as something rising up from the ground. So something sucks up the ground. And then as I pass that 50-50 point, the leg now needs to become this pillar of strength to support me. So from being fluid and active and moving, suddenly it becomes still and solid. You just want to feel that. So now the back leg pulls me. And then as my weight settles into it, it has to become solid and firm to hold me up. You just use the hand and just time it so that your hand coming up the leg here settles onto the sacrum at the same moment or just before you actually receive this, acquire this solid leg. So the hand resting on my sacrum, it serves that function of just making the bones and the structure feel more real and solid. But it also gets my bum in. So unless my bum is in, this rising energy, this sort of becoming solid, becoming strong, won't actually get all the way to the top. So if my bum's sticking out, then it's going to stop in the hip. So I'm pulling something up, and as I settle into the leg, I allow the leg to extrude up through me or intrude up through me. So one, and as I sink into the leg, ooh, it comes all the way up and beyond. And so the bum needs to be in, and the muscles in the lower back need to be really active and strong. So it's these muscles in the lower back, either side of the spine, that translate the energy, the effort from the legs and into the upper body. So they're all important. So we know this rising energy from the ground must be here because we can feel the sinking energy so clearly and the body isn't moving. So there must be another energy coming up. It's just difficult to feel. So this is what we're just trying to do here. I'm trying to. Uh, so the strength in the lower back just strengthens the heart. The heart can remain buoyant and open. And if it's that, then it will be cheerful. And then you'll notice the energy coming up. And then let's try some with the other foot forwards. Yeah, so first of all, just feeling those two stages, the moving into the back foot, and then the settling upon the leg, the solidifying of the leg. So whilst I'm moving, it's as though the leg is fluid. And then as I settle on the leg, it's sort of like it freezes, it becomes solid. One, two. I'm sinking down the leg, but the leg is rising up through me. That lovely Taoist phrase, soft like ice about to melt. So that's the right sort of softness. You could think of the right sort of hardness as being hard like water about to freeze. Ooh. So that wave of rising energy just makes this open. Okay, right. And now let's just stand again with the heels up a little bit and the legs bent. And then just this exercise. And now doing alternate things with each side of the body to get this turning. And now the stepping exercise. So again, coming into the leg with those two phases. So pulling with the leg and then settling into the leg and lifting the other foot. So always having my balance. Step out so I don't move whilst the leg is moving. And then I pull into the leg. It moves me and then it becomes solid. I can lift this heel just to accentuate the 100%, and then pulling back, settling into this solidifying leg, lifting this foot, stepping. So stop activity, return to stillness. So this sense that underneath the movement, underpinning the movement, there is stillness, quietness, a quiet mind. And I just feel that when we're moving slowly like this, and one of the reasons we do move slow is so that we can just feel the stillness within the movement. And we become still every time we come 100% into a foot. The other leg. So I'm moving and then I become still. Then I move again, become still, move the leg, then I move the body again, become still. And then we just want to, begin to notice that these moments of stillness, they're not really still. It's an equilibrium, it's a balance between what's pouring down and what's thrusting up through me. And that balance is delicate and fragile. And so there's always this shaky tremble to an equilibrium. Something about it is just really intensely alive. We just want to feel that in a way. There's more movement when I'm not moving than when I am moving, because when I am moving, that coarse movement to the body masks this delicate up and down fizz of central equilibrium. So here it's just the body moving. And as I settle into the foot, suddenly, ooh, it's just really alive. So stop activity, return to stillness, and that stillness will be even more active. So it's an activity that really wakes me up. So everything that we do, really, we're just trying to wake up, get more and more awake, more and more aware. Basically, the same word, those two words, awake and aware. So it's a stillness, but it's just so full of potential. And that's really what energy is. Energy is just a potential, really. So I'm settling into the leg, but it really feels like it wants to explode and it could go anywhere. Wow. Okay, so let's just bring it back to riding a horse. So it's one at a time. Just really put the hand deliberately and yeah, just feel it. Just how it affects the mind. The mind just it relaxes, it becomes happy, stops being anxious. And then this hand. Ooh, it's nice. And then the hands sliding down. And then pulling the head up, really strengthening the lower back, sticking your tail out behind you. And then bringing up the arms. Just feel the tail. There's as much spirit in your tail as there is in your heart and your head. It's really wriggly and active. And then the heels coming up. And now just into the heel, but squeezing around the outside edge. Thank you. And then foot up, foot up. So keeping the heels up. And just this ability to breathe the ground. So when we've got the heels up like this, when you go down, it really does feel like you're pulling yourself down. You're using the backs of the legs to pull yourself down to the ground and then using the front of the legs to push yourself back up. Okay. And now let's just use the wall. You could use a beam. You see, you got that wood there. You're lucky. So just bringing a hand up and just placing it on the wall, just feeling it, just relaxing as though you're leaning into the wall a little bit. Yeah? And just feel that line. So you can pick up this inside foot. So the line is from whatever you're touching here down to the ground. And I just want that to feel strong and just feel where my sacrum needs to be so that there's no break as the energy passes through it. So generally the sacrum has to be a little bit forwards of where it wants to be. So the leg just has to receive it a bit better. And you can just feel it, because we're not usually touching a wall. When you do touch the wall, you can really feel how you become like the wall or like the wood. We become what we touch. So I can feel this, everything, especially the bones becoming more dense and solid. That's the sense. And then with the other hand, so I'll just move across here. Yeah. It's trying to feel the sacrum, just how, when it's in the right place, so when it's slightly forwards of where it wants to be, then it just forces you to be in the world rather than in your head. Feel those muscles in the lower back, just how important and how strong they have to be just to face up to the world. And then just leaning on the wall with both hands. So first of all, just let the sacrum dominate your body. Feel it and let it feel like the piece of lead on the end of the plumb line, pulling down. So I have to have my heels up. My knees have to relax. The feeling is that if I relax the legs anymore, I'd actually go down. I'd physically go down and land on the ground. Feel the muscles in the lower back being used to effectively push into the wall. So you're only using the strength of the arms to support your body. You're not actually applying pressure with that. All the effort is coming from the lower back. And then a sense that your hands are trying to push upwards. So that then you have to get the sacrum even deeper into your legs and forwards. And then relaxing out of that back up. And now round with the back on the wall. So when we were leaning forwards on the wall, then the sense of spirit is very much in your eyes, your heart, your sense of wanting to drive forwards. Now, when you lean back, it's difficult to have that same drive. So that has to come from the tail. So now feel like your lower back is just really trying to arch. And so your tail is trying to extend into the wall. You just have to be careful that it doesn't hurt the tail. So a real sense that my lower back and my legs are trying to drive through the wall backwards. So my feet are pushing the ground away from me. And so just establish that and then just relax it. So the legs are pushing, but they're also relaxing. So a sense that you're almost beginning to slide down the wall. The legs are softening so much, but at the same time, you've got this pushing of the floor away from you and the pushing of the wall backwards. And just getting this sort of alternating action, like you're rolling and rocking your sacrum on the wall. And just working it, just trying to get the work as deep into your core, as close to your sacrum and your spine as possible. Yeah, so when I do this with my students, I'm the wall and they're leaning into me. And it is striking how they're much more active when they're leaning forwards into me, when they can see me, than when I'm at their back. So I just struggle to get them really driving into me because then they get a kickback. Energy is always returned if it's given. So, wow. Okay. They're just trying to find a way of come back up. And now let's just try this one again. And then just a bit wider. Same sort of thing with the feet, but not so exaggerated and just aggravating. And just trying to make sure my sacrum is forwards, so that it's really forcing me to look out rather than look in and consider what I'm doing. So the sacrum is trying to dig down and make this really good connection with the ground, and that allows my heart to reach out and make a good connection with what's in front of me and above me. And then just a slow jog. Again, just feel the sacrum. You know, we had to really work quite hard on getting the sacrum down and forwards just to get the legs in the mood to accept it, because normally the legs are not in the mood. I find that with my students, you know, so we're sinking, 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 then as soon as there's anything that resembles a break, like a change from one exercise to another, they just straighten their legs and lock them and breathe a sigh of relief. Yeah. So despite their willingness to sink, they don't really want to. We have to just change the mind so that is all we want to do is get down close to the ground. Okay. And now let's just try this again, but now with the view of getting the figure of eight in the foot. So as you bring the heel up, you're going around the toes. As the heel goes down, you're going around the heel. So there's a complete figure of eight inside each foot. And then just a little walk, but bringing the weight into the foot with that figure of eight. So I lift my foot, put my big toe down, and then I'll just do this figure of eight around the foot. So there needs to be one complete figure of eight. So from big toe to big toe before you can bring the other foot up. So, so as I'm coming down the figure of eight, that's pulling me into the foot. And then effectively as I go up the figure of eight, that's taking me around the outside edge and allowing the leg to solidify. So one and two. Okay, so let's finish with riding horse. Yeah, so first of all, just bringing your mind to this whole region and just becoming aware of your hips and your sacrum and your legs, especially the upper legs. And now just bring the hand round and just see just how much more real it becomes when you can touch it. It's like when you touch anything, really. You imagine you've gone out for a walk and you pick up a stone, and it's just, as soon as you lift it, it's just real to you in a way that just collecting the image with your eyes wasn't. So just trying to use touch wherever possible. And then sliding down and tail extending back. And then just rocking onto the front of the foot. You just sort of lean forwards a bit. Yeah, so when you're on the front of the foot, you're on the verge of falling forwards. So imagine if you did fall forwards, one of your legs would just whip out really quickly to stop yourself from falling and hurting yourself. So this is the impulse here. I'm wanting to start running. And then bringing the feet up, but without the heels down. Ooh. And then the heels down, but just very deliberately and gently. So my weight sort of sinks back into them, but it's as though I don't want to put too much weight in them. There's that lovely Taoist saying, uh, walk as though on thin ice. Just imagine if you're walking on thin ice, you can hear it creaking. It's almost like you're willing yourself not to put your weight in the foot as it goes down in case you break the ice. So that's the feeling here. And so the legs have to remain really loose and supple, especially the sacroiliacs, so that I'm not going to be harsh. Yeah, so if I'm going down here, it's because my leg is bending, not because I'm putting more pressure on the ground. Okay, so let's rub the hands, generate a little bit of heat. And then just placing the hands on the knees and just, again, just feeling the legs becoming, it's difficult to know what they become. They become legs. They feel full. And then just take one hand off and just place it over the kidney region. And again, just feel that touch penetrating into the kidney. All the time trying to relax the shoulders, especially when you use the arms and the hands. And then the other one onto its kidney. Just relax into the contact. So you just see it as an exercise through the day to just touch with awareness whatever you can. So when I'm in Tel Aviv, there's a student that lives around the corner, so I go and visit her to work, and I have to sort of duck my head under a tree branch at one point. And now I've just started reaching up and just touching it as I duck under it. And it is amazing how just the texture and everything, it just becomes real. I really feel the wood. I don't just see it. So we have to realize that when we touch like that with awareness, gently, tenderly, it's not just good for us, it's good for the thing we're touching. Both of us become more awake. Okay. And now let's just stretch the leg. Yeah, that's what I have to do as well. The thing with our technology now, I mean, nothing, Nothing really has texture anymore. Everything's shiny, clean, smooth surfaces. And then the other leg. And then the butterfly. And then down into the fetus. Up. And now trying to lean back. And up. And then just let's lie back. And just a little bit of cycling. And then pulling one knee up and extending the other leg. And swapping round. And other side again, but now pulling the knee towards its opposite shoulder. So this is more difficult. And then the other knee towards its opposite shoulder. And then the other knee again. And working, if it's the left knee, then working it down to the right side, turning the head the other side to keep the shoulders down. And then the other side. And then up into the squat. Then into the sumo squat. So heels almost together and toes up. Heels up. And then let's just try a bit with the peripheral vision from here, yeah? So up and out. And then keeping the eyes fixed, just move the fingers and the hands a little, just to get a real sense of that movement. and then tracing the rim. And then again, but just plucking that thread from the top of the head.